Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a simple strategy for narrowing a research topic using background research. Many research topics start out as a broad idea, and that's completely normal. As you explore sources and learn more about your issue, your topic will often become much more specific. In this tutorial, I'll walk you through an example showing how a broad topic can develop into a more focused research question. So, it always helps to start with an open Word document or some type of notebook so that you can take notes as you go along. For the purposes of this new tutorial, I chose the very broad topic of net neutrality. So it's a strong starting point because it's a real issue that involves internet regulation, government policy, and consumer access to online content. However, the topic itself is pretty broad. So just to show you how broad that is, I'm going to do a basic search using the Bakersfield College Library's OneSearch tool and show you how many results come up searching broadly. To access the OneSearch tool, from the Bakersfield College homepage, first click Services and Resources. Scroll down, click Library, and then scroll down again, click Research. And under here, we're going to go to Find Books and More with OneSearch. So if I just search for net neutrality, we have about 10,000 results. So these are very likely good results, but that's going to be a lot to look through. It's not very specific. It's just about net neutrality very broadly. So one strategy is to first see what's available on Wikipedia. So on the net neutrality Wikipedia page, kind of skim over it. You don't necessarily have to read it from start to finish, but take a look at some of the contents on the side. Try to take note of some of the specific definitions or terms, which we can uncover here: internet neutrality, open internet, so on and so forth. And in some cases, we could even see specific topics and issues related to this broader umbrella topic of net neutrality. And luckily for us, the United States net neutrality also has its own Wikipedia page. So that's going to be even more specific if you want to talk about it here in the United States. So a good place to look for some background terms, kind of familiarize yourself with the topic. Another good place to go is the Gale Opposing Viewpoints database. So to get there, we're going to go back to the Bakersfield College Library homepage, and instead of clicking Find Books and More with OneSearch, you're going to click Find all of our databases with A to Z databases. And here, Opposing Viewpoints and Context is under the frequently used databases. Just go there. So I'm going to type in net neutrality. And a strength of Opposing Viewpoints is because it provides topic overviews and discussions of major debates surrounding controversial issues. So if you want to read the overview, click that. It'll give you an overview, related subjects, more like this, specific things here. And going back to the main page here, if we scroll down, we can even be taken to specific academic journal sources here, featured viewpoints, which talk about some of the major ideas or stances that people have about this particular issue of net neutrality. So there's a lot of resources here that are going to be great for you to build your background information. Another excellent resource to use are the Gale reference ebooks. So going back to our databases page here, and just click Gale ebooks. And I'm going to do the same thing, search for net neutrality. And we have quite a few resources from encyclopedias, which would be good resources here. But just to make sure we get the most in-depth information, it always helps to search for the last 5 years, generally. If we're talking about a subject this current, So you can get the latest results on net neutrality, even be pointed to resources on the Federal Communications Commission. And this will be broad overviews of the topic and can also introduce other specific issues or aspects about it. And so you can kind of take note on what specific aspects about it you're interested in and then build from there. So if I return to my notes here, I just want to take note of some of the things that stood out to me. So I know that internet service providers are clearly involved here. The FCC and its policies, consumer or user access, streaming services or companies, internet users, consumers, government regulation, open internet, throttling, just some of the major concepts that stood out. And so as you start taking notes on things like this, once you start to develop a list, it helps to narrow them even further, to ask guiding questions about it using the who, what, when, where, why, how type questions. So using this as an example, you can see how we move from a very broad topic of global warming, kind of answer a few of these questions here, come up with some answers, and then try piecing them together to come up with a focused research question. So you can do that with the topic of net neutrality. So if we get down to net neutrality here, who is involved here? Well, we know the internet service providers, the streaming companies or services, and consumers, the government itself, FCC, more broad or more specific, and then what? Maybe government regulation, internet traffic throttling, or FCC net neutrality rules. And if we want to think of when, we could think of after the FCC policy changes, before FCC policy changes, and then where. Probably be easiest to focus on the United States here, but we could focus globally if we would choose. This also could even consider things like specifically like online platforms or even broadband networks. And then why? Some why questions about this topic, like internet service providers opposing regulation, consumer access concerns, company competition maybe, or government policy debates. And then how do they do these things, or how are these aspects involved together with the topic? We can think of internet regulation, bandwidth throttling. And then we could put some of these together. So we can take a look at some of these and then come up with just a more focused question. So out of those examples, one thing that I came up with was how net neutrality regulation affects streaming services. So it's much more specific than looking at just net neutrality in general, and it will lead us to more resources that deal with this specifically. So I'm going to use a more focused research search here. So I'm going to go back to net neutrality, and I'm just going to add streaming services here. So once we use specific keywords, as you can see, we only have 95 results now, much better than 10,000. The results are going to be much more focused and directly related to our topic. So helping move from a very broad topic by asking those guiding questions is going to be very helpful for finding more specific resources. And then you would just explore them further. So To summarize, narrowing a research topic often involves several steps. You might start with a broad idea, kind of explore some background sources, take notes on some concepts that stand out to you, and then ask some guiding questions, like who, what, when, where, why, and how. And then these strategies can help you transform your broad topic into a clear and researchable question, or several questions to research. Very often you're going to have to revise your question or often come up with others along the way. Unfortunately, research is very rarely a linear process. So it's completely normal for your topic to evolve as you explore the sources. If you do need help narrowing a topic or finding sources, the library is always here to help.